AfterBuzz TV, starting place to the likes of WWE female superstars Kathy Kelly, Sonya Deville, and Zelina Vega proudly presents Women's Wrestling Weekly, the world's first podcast and YouTube series dedicated exclusively to women's wrestling, featuring all the latest news as well as interviews with top superstars in the industry. And now, AfterBuzz TV's own gorgeous lady of wrestling, TK Trinidad.
Hello and welcome to Women's Wrestling Weekly. I am not TK Trinidad. I'm your host, Steve Kaufman. And this is the #1 women's wrestling show on the planet. I'm not alone, though. Joining me to the very far left, hailing from the valley, it's Emily May.
Hey! Hi, everyone. I'm excited to be here again for another episode of Women's Wrestling Weekly.
And to her left, she's our very special guest. She's joining us in studio, Miss Thunder Rosa.
The one and only, the two-time champion, you know, the NWA Women's World Champion, and the princess, international princess champion from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, which actually, I have to mention that we're going to have a show in Tampa for the first time. Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling is coming to the United States.
Is it WrestleMania weekend in Tampa?
Yes, and I'm going to be there. That's the only show, guys, that I'm booked in WrestleMania weekend, so you should come and watch me.
You heard it here.
That's top of the press release.
Top of the press release.
Just saying.
So we're so excited to have you here. There's so much to get into. I think we should just, start with how does it feel to be the NWA Women's Champion?
Wow, I got asked that last week around the same time by this guy in Dublin that he's been trying to like interview me for about a month, and I started crying. It's like one of the most special like experiences in my life, because I've been reading about the history of this title, and it has so many positive things, but it also has so many negative things in terms of like what women wrestling had to go through before, you know. People could actually hold a title like now and be like, yeah, I'm the NWA, women's champion. So I feel empowered. Let's put it that way.
What kind of messages would you give to like a young wrestler who wants that NWA Women's Championship title one day?
I just say like you have to like really, really demonstrate that you are not a natural athlete, but an athlete, somebody that you can face absolutely anybody, and you can have great matches. And I think for the first time, I've been wrestling for 6 years now, and I've been doing a lot of different characters. I did Cobra Moon and Lucha Underground. I did Serpentine and WoW, and nobody ever gave me a chance as Thunder Rosa, and that's what I had, and my husband and I would be like creating together is this character that finally it was given the light, and people love it, it's really amazing.
So when you were creating Thunder Rosa, what does it mean to you, and what was that journey like?
Well, the journey was, I don't know if you guys know, I am Mexican born, of course. And when I came to the United States, it's like I was trying to assimilate to the culture. So when I first started, I wanted to be seen as just a wrestler, just a pro wrestler. Didn't want to be, had any connections with Lucha Libre. One, I didn't, train Lucha Libre. And two, again, I wanted to just be seen as an athlete. But things didn't go the way that I wanted to. So the face paint was given to me by a small company in Merced, because then we were trying to attract Latino fans, and they put the full face paint on, but the guy said I was too pretty for it, so they put half. And then after that, I was using it only there, and then when I went to Japan, this face was not doing anything for people, and I was really green, and then I got a concussion, and I stopped wrestling for a month. I literally almost died. And then my husband mentioned, why you don't bring the face paint on, and see what happens. And ever since I did that, like, people really like that. And then people really feel like, oh, that girl has like face paint on and she looks interesting. And then when they see you performing, they're like, wow, like, you are a great performer. So that's how like the evolution of it. And then the back history, I mentioned it multiple times. It was like literally on my DNA. It was on my history that I was gonna become a professional wrestler. And when we decided to go full on, being a professional wrestler full time, we knew that big opportunities were gonna come for us. So Yes.
That's amazing. It's such a journey, and I know you have so much more to go. Right now, the biggest thing all over Twitter, everyone's talking about this feud that you have with Allison Kay,
Yes.
and it is dominating conversations.
Yes.
So what do you think's next for this?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I trust on the writers and their stories, and I think what they have done so far with the character Thunder Rosa and with all the plot, it's been pretty successful. Like the match that I had in Hard Times was one of the most hard-hitting matches I ever had in my career, and the story that we were able to tell in 20 minutes was amazing. People still talk about that match, and then we had just the rematch yesterday.
Yeah.
And people still they were like, oh my God, you guys are one of the most physical women's wrestlers that we've seen. I mean, she has experience in amateur fighting, and she does a lot of jiu-jitsu the same way. That's what I've been training for the last almost a year. It's only MMA, because I signed for Combate Americas for 4 fights. I did my first one, I lost. I'm doing my second one, and I have to win. So yeah, when Allison gets in there, I was just like, hey, sorry, girl, you're going to get it. I'm hungry.
It's so incredible. Like, it's brutal. Like, when you're in the ring with her, it's so amazing to watch. So I would love to know the comparison between MMA, your MMA training, and wrestling training, and how that kind of came about.
Wrestling is very different than MMA. I mean, there are certain aspects like mat wrestling that we do, Greco-Roman wrestling, that I could actually incorporate on my MMA, but it takes a lot more than that. I think if I would have had collegiate wrestling experience, or just even in high school, if I would have wrestled, things would have been completely different now. But I'm trying to learn different aspects of martial arts, like striking, kickboxing, Muay Thai, then you add Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and then Jiu-Jitsu for MMA. So there's a lot of things that you have to learn. And you have to master. It's just it's just like pro wrestling. If you have your basics sharp and well, you can become a great fighter. And also, when I was training this morning, one of our trainers, he was talking about certain stuff that he does during his fights. And I was just like, this is very psychological, just like in wrestling, like pro wrestling. So the way that you will attack your opponent, and having a plan, and how you're going to finish your opponent, it's just so amazing. And it's just the way that I interpret things in MMA is completely different than in pro wrestling. But for me, the transition now from MMA to pro wrestling, I try to make things as real as possible. And I always been very aggressive on my attacks. But I think ever since I started with MMA, it's gone from 0 to 100. And I feel like I wrestle very old school, 1995 Joshi style.
You mentioned you have a booking in Tampa and that you do NWA Power. How are you able to, scheduling-wise, do both MMA and pro wrestling?
Well, I'm very blessed. I want to thank Billy Corgan and David Lagana for allowing me and believing in me. And our schedule in NWA is actually not so hard. So it allows me to plan for my next fight. So when I signed with NWA, they were aware that I was signing a contract for professional fighting. And they were completely for it. And the same with Combate Americas. They love pro wrestling, and they see the value of my character, not solely as a fighter, but also as an entertainer. And that's one of the things that I'm really working so hard right now, is to not only, like I said, again, trying to be the best at this both things that I'm doing, but I also trying to find other avenues and where I can also become proficient at, that's why I'm doing my YouTube. That's why I'm doing interviews with other people. I'm doing ring announcing on my own promotion because I can't wrestle there. So, I mean, I just want to be as
personal.
That, and I want to have different strengths. So
well-rounded.
Well-rounded. Yeah. So if in case that a big opportunity comes, I'm ready for it.
That's amazing. Do you see, looking to the future, do you have someone that you want to be in the ring with, a feud you want to start up?
Man, I mean, everybody's being snatched, And I was like, I was hoping that Aja Pereira didn't get signed, and she just got signed as a referee.
She just got signed as a ref.
The first African American referee to be signed by WWE.
Congrats.
Yeah, congratulations. That position was open to a lot of girls of color. That includes me. And I knew that for me, it was, like I said, I had a bigger vision than I mean, I will love to become a referee if the money's there, you know. But I think that the vision that we had for the future and like the impact that we want to create with other generations of women, you know, women athletes, it's bigger than just becoming a referee. And I think with NWA giving me this opportunity to be the first ever Mexican-born wrestler to be, you know, the champion is huge.
Where did we get? Sorry.
So when you're looking, when you're, like you said, you're building your legacy and you're making these building these milestones.
Yes.
That hopefully makes it easier for other women to succeed again in the future. What other? I know you talked a little bit about the type of training you have to go through and the stamina and stuff like that. But when you're looking at your school and kind of your training, what do you look for in an opponent and in a good wrestler?
I guess I am always been very big, like I mentioned, basics, like knowing your basics, your mat wrestling, you know, because sometimes I feel like a lot of people like get stuck in like doing spots and like outside of the spots, they're very uncomfortable. For me, getting yourself or putting yourself in an uncomfortable position, that's what they always teach us at training and MMA training. It's only going to make you better because you're going to know how to get in, how to get out, how to counter, do all that kind of stuff. And it's the same with wrestling. When you're grabbing a hold, you need to know how to grab the hold, how to counter the hold, and how to create. It's, again, creating magic in the ring. Because the ring is a theater, and we're artists. And when we're there, we can create magic, or we can actually create a terrible, terrible trash match in the ring where you will be in botchamania. I mean, but still, it's art, you know, regardless. We all been there, and again, when I'm looking at an opponent, I always look at my opponent's strengths and see what we can work from there. And I think that's what every trainer looks for when they're training somebody new. What are their strengths? And then they see their weaknesses, and then they work, you know, around that. So that's what I do when I win a new opponent, especially.
Speaking of the in-ring work, are there any moves that you currently do or would like to do that are your favorite to do in the ring?
Lately, I've just like been, I like to work the arms lately because it's just like, you know, I've been doing a lot of that stuff in practice, and like when I learn something new, like a new choke or something, I try to incorporate it, and my matches. But some people are not very happy because I'm doing it like too hard, so like shoot style. But that and I like some like of the lucha transitions. They're very like flashy and smooth and make you look so like athletic. My favorite athletic move that I do, I haven't done it in a long time unless there's 6 people catching me, is a court scoop plancha to the outside from the third rope. You know, I really like doing that one, but last time I did it, I like landed on my hips. I was just like, nah, I think I'm just gonna retire it now.
Let's not. Yeah, there's certain moves where you're like, all right, I'm not gonna do that one anymore.
Yes. So I like right now I'm in the process of really incorporating new stuff that had to do with the MMA style and then also the Javier style that I always worked. Yeah.
So I saw in an article you were talking about what it feels to hold both titles.
Yes.
And talking about being a positive role model in wrestling.
Yes.
What other things do you want to make sure that like young girls know about you when they see you in the ring?
I think it's just knowing that it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter like what, you know, obstacles you had in life, that you can achieve everything you want if you put yourself, you know, there and like you're consistent and dedicated. I mean, like I've said this a gazillion times. I come from nothing, you know, I've come from Tijuana. I was a girl with a lot of dreams. I wanted to go to college in the United States, and I knew that education was going to be my ticket out from poverty. I went, finished UC Berkeley, and it was my ticket out of poverty because of me going to the Bay Area, going to UC Berkeley. I found wrestling, so I took a chance, and I left my family. I left everything, and I put myself in a very uncomfortable position. Again, but I had very strong support. So again, have that strong support and believing in yourself makes a huge difference. It took me a couple years before I realized my worth, that I could achieve a lot of things, and it didn't matter if I was a second, third generation wrestler, or if I had a name on me. I was going to make a difference, and I was gonna make history, because that's what I put my mind into it.
I think that's a good part of it. It's a good way to segue out of the interview portion
so beautiful.
into the rapid hot tags.
All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Women's Wrestling Rapid Hot Tags.
All right. Who do you want to wrestle in your favorite match?
Oh my God, Sarah's stuck, but she doesn't wrestle anymore. Well, if I can, I will wrestle her.
Are you always early or always late?
It depends where I'm going.
Fair.
LA traffic.
Yes.
Who is the last person you texted?
My husband.
Dope. What is the one thing you love about yourself? Or one of the things.
That I love about myself?
Yes.
My butt.
There. Who is your dream dinner guest?
Oh my God. Oh, Jay Shetty.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
What is your favorite ice cream?
Coffee ice cream.
Who is your favorite wrestler of all time?
Bro, I didn't watch wrestling.
Okay.
When I was little.
Who
Right
would,
now.
Who would play you in a movie?
Woo! Yeah. What's that girl from Fast and Furious?
Oh.
Gina Rodriguez
No.
or Jordana Brewster?
Ed Rodriguez.
Well,
Yeah.
Gina
Oh, yes, Gina
Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Yeah,
They say
She's
that we look alike.
Which celebrity would
Gorgeous.
you like to meet?
Ooh, celebrity? I am not big into meeting celebrities. Actually, I see them you know what? No, never mind. Will Smith.
Will Smith.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
What is the last show you've binge watched?
You.
Okay,
from
not
Netflix.
me. Yes.
So creepy.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything.
What is your favorite junk food?
Mexican candy.
Good choice. If you were on death row, what would your last meal be?
Lobster, a good steak, macaroni and cheese, and man, that's a hard one. It probably ice cream, coffee ice cream.
That sounds like a wonderful
All of it.
meal.
That's well-rounded.
If you can listen to one album for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh Jesus, let's see. I don't know. It has to be a mix, like a mix album. It can't be just one.
It would be
Probably,
like
Little mixtape.
probably best hits from the 70s and 80s.
a. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Dope.
That covers a lot of area.
Yes.
That was the rapid hot tag. That was my first time involved. That was a lot of fun. And now, Emily, you have some news for us for this
Yeah,
week.
so we're gonna break down some news that came out today. So Bianca Belair and Naomi and Ember Moon were featured in Essence magazine, and they're talking about body image and diversity in WWE and how they're trying to be their truest self through wrestling. Blair is quoted in this article saying, "I knew that I was naturally smart, talented, and athletic, but was often told to tone it down and not be as ambitious. So I felt like I needed to shrink myself to soothe other people's insecurities." And stepping into her own as a personality and a woman, Blair did away with playing it small. And, it goes further into the article, and so you can check it out, and all three women are highlighted. And it's just incredible. Naomi came out at the Royal Rumble, and the Twitterverse went crazy seeing her again.
Yeah, and what is it shocking for me was to see her natural hair.
Natural hair.
Because
Exactly,
you do a lot of stuff to their hair and stuff to make sure that they look good. But she looked beautiful like that.
She was gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I loved how she just was completely embraced by everyone. And
Yes.
we should have more people that feel comfortable and are able to do that.
But again, it's part of the business, and what I was telling you guys, I didn't want to be seen as the Mexican wrestler. But now I embraced it too. That's why I wear the face paint on all the time, and I come out with my flags.
But I would argue you earned it up to that you spent so long trying to just be a wrestler that you've now earned the luxury of being able to lean into exactly who you want to be.
Yeah,
Who you think
and
will
people
work.
and people
you
are
work through it.
Yeah, and people are accepting it, and I think that's why these young ladies are talking about this because they want to be accepted, for who they are and where they come from and their genetic makeup and stuff. That is very important for you to be happy in this business.
Yeah, totally. That's a really good point. Another story, number 2, that came out today, Brandy Rhodes was featured in a Yahoo Sports article about how she's changing the face of executives in the wrestling business. And again, she's, the chief brand officer at All Elite Wrestling. And one of the quotes from the article, she states, "I rarely consider myself a role model." She told Yahoo Sports, "I do realize I am in a huge position, and I know that I got to this position through hard work and perseverance. It's not something I consider to be a gift at all. I definitely earned it." So you can look at that article at Yahoo News and hear her talking about how she's changing the executive kind of corporate level of wrestling, not just in the ring.
I can speak just from Double or Nothing. The crowd of an AEW show versus the crowd at a WWE show is night and day. A lot more, I would say, younger adults versus just younger people.
Yeah.
And then I noticed just in general a lot more women. And this is a lifelong wrestling fan who grew up going to shows. Women were literally there was a certain scarcity to women, especially women that weren't someone's mother or girlfriend. And that's just the reality of that crowd, that I think she's making strides to change that makeup of the crowd by presenting a product that is
in a different
more
way.
inclusive.
Yeah, I mean, and we have, Stephanie McMahon, who is the chief brand officer at WWE, but like having another equivalent executive in that type of position, I think is really important for women to see, that we can look up and see like, hey, I can be a big producer at a wrestling company one day and help run it.
Yeah. And I think that takes us to the star of the week. That isn't Thunder Rosa.
Yes. I mean, Thunder Rosa is our ultimate star of the week.
She is the star of the week. This is
the star of the week. But we also have another one highlighted. So related to like my news of the week, I wanted to highlight Bianca Belair, because Bianca Belair has been just kicking butt all over NXT. She had an amazing debut at the Royal Rumble. Again, we know she's like a former track and field athlete, CrossFit competitor. She, had 2 tryouts for WWE and then finally got signed. So she worked her way up to the developmental division. She has athleticism, she has grit, she has this shining personality that I love watching on television every week. She rocked the Royal Rumble. She was in it for 33 minutes and 20 seconds, and she eliminated
8 or 9
competitors.
I think the women's record heading into that match was under 5 or 6. I think it was 5 or 6. So she trounced it.
She totally is breaking records and is setting records. And I know I just had to put her as my star of the week, just because she has been really shining brightly, and I know that she is going to do amazing things.
And she always looked like $1 million.
And she looks like $1 million. Look at
I'm
that.
like, dang, girl, I
think she makes her gear. I think she makes her own gear, and just I'm just throwing it out. My star of the week, Bianca Belair.
Also, I think every year the Performance Center does that combine. She's usually the winner, usually the winner by a landslide of just pure athleticism.
Yeah. Just, I love just watching her just lift people in the ring and throw them out like nothing.
She's
I
also
enjoy it.
She's also my star of the week. Who's not Thunder Rosa?
Well, Thunder Rosa is that's the obvious one.
So that actually wraps us up.
That does.
A bit earlier than the timer says, but that's fine.
Yeah. Do you have any other news?
Yes.
Do you have your show?
I actually do have my show
in April. Do you have the dates and time yet? Location?
It is on my Twitter account, Thunder Rosa 22, and Instagram Thunder Rosa 22. Also, if you guys want to know a little bit more about how I got my championship, both of my championships, you can go on my YouTube and follow me, like and subscribe. And all that stuff is in there. And guys, if you guys can make sure. Oh, also the news for Crockett Cup are coming in the next couple of weeks. So just be mindful. It will come out pretty soon.
Okay.
NWA will get it out on their social media too. So just be aware that
we'll have to keep our eyes out.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun.
Yeah. And keep watching NWA Power.
Yes, every Tuesday at 6:05 Eastern Time.
Eastern Time.
Eastern Time.
I know, it's always like middle of the day over here.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot. I have a lot of merch available. You guys can buy it at thunderrosa.bigcartel.com. Don't forget them.
And Emily, where can the people
Amazing. So you can find me on all social media platforms at Emily May Heller.
And you guys can find me on Twitter almost exclusively at Steve Kaufman. That is KAUFMANN. I am pretty active in the YouTube wrestling space. So if I'm tweeting a link, chances are I'm involved. And this has been Women's Pro Wrestling Weekly. And you guys have a great week.
Bye.
Don't text and
Our
drive.
founder, Kevin Undergaro, and me, Maria Menounos, would like to thank you for tuning in to AfterBuzz TV. Remember, we're not just the first, we're the biggest in the world, and we're the only destination for all your favorite TV shows. Whatever you crave, we've got it. So go to AfterBuzzTV.com and check out our lineup. Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.